I'm going to give you about 5 mistakes that most people make when they first start lifting. I've been lifting for about 5 years, so I can tell you that the past maybe 2 years is the only years I've seen actual any gains at all, whether it's losing weight or losing fat or building muscle. Most people have done these 5 crucial mistakes that's actually stopping them from seeing progress when they train. Mistake number 1 is not establishing a good mind-muscle connection. Now, if you're wondering what mind-muscle connection is actually just being able to pretty much feel out the muscles, be able to have a connection between like the muscle part, let's say the chest and your brain. If you can't feel the actual muscle being worked out, then most of the time you're probably activating the wrong muscles. So say for like a bench press, if you're bench pressing something and all you feel is your shoulders, then you're really not establishing a good mind muscle connection with your chest to be able to grow it at all. For example, if you want to actually fix your mind muscle connection with your chest, you would do something like lower the weight you're benching with the bench press, start doing stuff like push-ups, the machine press, the incline dumbbell press, and things that are going to teach you simple cues like retracting your scalp, and then obviously activate your chest before you go bench press with something simple like a push-up, and then bench press with the same form you did in all the other exercises. This is a good way to establish mind muscle connection, so you actually teach your body how to activate a muscle without just pushing as hard as you possibly can, using all the wrong muscles just to push something up and not growing anything up. Mistake number 2 is following TikTok workouts and honestly just switching up your routine at all. It's kind of like one of the worst things you can do for any type of progress to be seen with a muscle or strength or hypertrophy. You have to progressive overload. So progressive overload is every couple workouts or every week or every workout you actually do, you slowly increase their weight or you increase the sets of something that you're doing. So if you're squatting at 2 plates, then the next workout you want to squat with 2 plates and a 10, or you just add 1 to 2 sets per workout. And this is how you actually progressive overload. But most people just see like, oh, learn how to blast your shoulders in one day, and then they do it, and then they switch the exercises the next day, and it's just all over the place, and there's no way for your body to learn how to adapt and actually grow muscle. Mistake number 3 is actually neglecting the compound movements. For compound movements, obviously I'm talking about the bench press, pull-ups, squats, and even the overhead press. These movements actually target more than just one muscle. A lot of people like do isolation muscles where they'll just do maybe like a single arm like chest press, and that's cool and all, but when you can get more bang for your buck, why not do that, especially when you're a beginner, because your whole entire body's new to lifting, so it's going to make quick gains fast. Do isolation, you're missing out on a lot of the early gains you could get when you're a beginner, and even when you're more advanced, you're really not targeting a lot of the muscles that you could be doing with a big variety of compound movements, which can only be 5 to 6 exercises. You can get it in, get it out, and then just dip. It's super simple, and you just get the most bang for your. Mistake number 4 is getting fat to bulk. That's actually probably one of the worst things you could do. So a lot of people think that you have to eat so much in a caloric surplus to actually gain muscle, when really you're just going to put on a lot of fat. So once you put on all this fat and you're like, okay, it's time for me to, I have to be able to take off my shirt, have some abs or look lean or whatever you're trying to do, you have to lose all that fat. And when you lose a lot of fat at one time, let's say like 5 to 10% of your body fat, you're going to lose muscle with it. So at the end of the day, you're either going to look skinny fat or you're just going to lose most of the muscle you gained in the bulk. So unless you're very advanced, I wouldn't ever bulk at all. I'll just do a lean bulk, where you just do like maybe 100 to 200 calorie surplus, or just a 300 calorie deficit where you can lose a little bit of fat and actually gain muscle. Especially if you're new, you won't really have any issues with gaining muscle because you'll get the kind of newbie gains you get. Mistake number 5 is obviously not counting your calories. I think this is probably the dumbest thing, and so many people make so many excuses for it. It's like, oh, it's too overwhelming, or I don't really know how to, or oh, it's just too much to do, and that's all bullshit. If you just look up what is my TDE or what is my BMR, and then you calculate what's good for you, especially if you're a beginner, just do something normal. Like for most people, it's probably like 2,500 calories, but then they eat like 3,500 calories every single day and they have no clue what they're doing. So learn how to actually count them, take your time, look at every nutrition label, read the nutrition labels right, actually measure out what you're eating. And once you start actually counting, you'll realize that you were probably eating like 500 more calories or 500 less calories, which makes a huge difference if you're going to build muscle or just lose muscle every single day because you're expending too much energy or just eating way too damn much. Easy apps to use to actually learn how to count your calories or learn how to find the right amount of calories is MyFitnessPal. I'll leave a link in the description. For our final mistake number 6 is actually just not warming up and not really working on your overall body health. So if you just work out all the time and lift as heavy as possible every time you go, and you never work on your mobility or work on isolation movements that will actually help you feel better when you just walk around and when you do basic things, you're gonna become very stiff, or you're gonna get injured really fast. It's important to actually warm up your muscles before you work out by jogging a little bit, doing some body weight squats and stuff like that. That requires the entire body. And then when you finish, obviously add in some isometric movements. You can look it up, something like an isometric squat with a barbell. That's actually how you gain mobility instead of just stretching all day, because a lot of people think that stretching actually helps. When really stretching, you're just pulling away from the tendon. So if you're stretching your hamstring, you're really pulling against the hamstring to tear it more. So it doesn't really do anything. So I just want to gain mobility in isometric movement, so stuff like squats or lunges, to learn how to gain mobility without being stiff when you just lift heavy every single time. So if these 5 tips helped you, make sure you leave a like, comment your favorite tip, and subscribe. I'll put it there, somewhere, I don't fucking know. But I'll see y'all. Justin out.